This episode of The Diary of a CEO with Steven Bartlett features legendary investor and entrepreneur Mohnish Pabrai. He shares his proven playbook for quitting your 9-to-5 job in just 9 months, a strategy built not on risky bets, but on persistence, patience, and the timeless principles of Dhando business. Mohnish begins with the Gujarati concept of Dhando. The word translates to business, but the deeper meaning is business, where the downside is limited and the upside is enormous. Dhando is about taking opportunities that are almost risk-free but have massive potential if they succeed. This idea underpins his entire philosophy of building wealth. He points out that many of the most successful entrepreneurs weren't innovators, but cloners. Bill Gates didn't invent word processors or spreadsheets. He cloned WordPerfect and Lotus and executed better. Sam Walton, founder of Walmart, openly admitted he had no original ideas. He borrowed from Sears and Kmart, but perfected retail by learning constantly and executing relentlessly. Richard Branson, when he launched Virgin Atlantic, didn't invent airlines. He found customer frustrations and cloned existing models while adding just enough of a twist to stand out. The lesson? Innovation is overrated. Smart cloning, relentless persistence, and execution are underrated. This leads to the heart of his message. Great entrepreneurs are not risk-takers. They are risk eliminators. They structure ventures so that if things go wrong, the loss is minimal. But if things go right, the upside is huge. By contrast, spending 40 years in a job you don't love is far riskier. It robs you of your best energy and leaves you with little freedom at the end. So how can an ordinary person apply this? Mohnish breaks down the 168 hours in a week. Sleep takes 56. A full-time job takes 40. That still leaves 72 hours. He argues you can redirect at least 20 of those hours from Netflix or social media into your own venture. He calls these yellow blocks, creative time carved out of leisure. If your side project excites you more than your downtime, you've found something worth building. Mohnish explains how he did this himself. While working corporate, he decided to stop being a star employee. Instead, he performed just above firing level, good enough to stay employed, but not pouring his best energy into his boss's goals. That freed him to focus on his side hustle, TransTech. Within 9 months, the company had enough traction for him to quit. The first year generated $400,000. By the third year, it was making millions. He didn't gamble everything. He executed a disciplined, low-risk plan. Listening to customers was key. In his early pitches, he showed clients 7 services. One client stopped him midway. That's my pain point. From then on, he dropped the rest and doubled down on solving that single problem. The lesson: don't fall in love with your ideas. Listen hard, adjust quickly, and focus on real customer pain. Persistence was another cornerstone. He sent hundreds of letters and followed up with hundreds of calls. Most were ignored, but a handful responded, and that was enough to build a foundation. He tracked every detail: calls, conversion rates, follow-ups. He knew the numbers would work if he kept playing the volume game. Most people quit after 5 tries. He kept going until the yes came. He passed this on to his daughter, who sent 1,200 letters with stock ideas to hedge funds. One response led to an introduction, and she landed her dream job with no finance degree. 1,000 rejections don't matter. One yes changes everything. He shares Richard Branson's Virgin Atlantic story to show how creativity replaces capital. Branson had no money but called Boeing relentlessly until they leased him an idle plane. He pre-sold tickets, collected cash before flights, and paid bills afterward. He started an airline with no risk and no capital. If you can launch an airline that way, you can launch almost anything. Mohnish also stresses compounding, the quiet force that builds wealth. He explains the rule of 72. Divide 72 by your return rate to see how fast money doubles. At 7%, it doubles every 10 years. At 10%, every 7 years. at 20% every 3.5 years. He illustrates with Manhattan, bought in 1623 for $23. If that money had compounded at 7% annually, today it would be worth over 23 trillion, more than Manhattan itself. The point is not the starting amount, it's time and patience. Small sums invested early grow into fortunes. He tells young people, invest now, even if it's tiny. $5,000 invested at 18 and left alone at 10% becomes $500,000 by retirement. Repeat yearly, and you'll have millions. Wealth doesn't require brilliance. It requires patience and consistency. On stock picking, he warns, most people won't beat the market. Buy index funds like the S&P 500 or a company like Berkshire Hathaway. Add regularly, let compounding work quietly, and spend your mental energy building your business. Investing should be the sidecar, not the engine. The conversation moves to people and culture. Mohnish believes in 3 non-negotiables: intelligence, energy, and integrity. Without integrity, intelligence and energy are dangerous. He echoes Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. A players want to work with A players. Once you accept B players, the culture erodes. Hire slow, fire fast, and protect your company's DNA. He also discusses Adam Grant's framework of givers, takers, and matchers. Takers win short-term, matchers keep score, but givers win long-term. Helping without expecting return builds goodwill and opportunities. Over time, that goodwill compounds like capital. Mohnish lives this through his philanthropic foundation, which funds education for children in India. Toward the end, he circles back to the main message. Escaping the 9-to-5 isn't about brilliance or luck. It's about cloning proven models, eliminating risk, persisting when others quit, listening to customers, planting thousands of seeds, and letting compounding do the rest. Trade your orange free time for yellow creation time. Don't stop after 5 tries. Success may come on the 500th. That is how Mohnish Pabrai quit his job in 9 months and built enduring wealth. The playbook is simple but profound. Minimize downside, maximize upside, and let time and compounding do their work. It's not glamorous, but it works. If you enjoyed this recap, subscribe for more deep dive podcast summaries every week. For quick daily takeaways, check out my TikTok, where I condense these lessons into 60-second bursts.